Hello and welcome back. As you can see, we've got the rocket on the railway this week, and it doesn't like the points. I didn't think it would. I think it's probably actually slightly better on the Super 4 than it is on this System 6. You can see the problem. But with the Morley, I can get it to run slow like this. Let's see how we do with this point through here. But I imagine if we wound that up a little, we'd be able to get it to run slightly less stutters perhaps. But as I've been fiddling with it, I've not been able to get it run quick enough to get any smoke out like we just seen in the clip just then. But it really is quite a wonderful item, given when it was designed back in the early 60s. Let's see if we can get on there. Let's see if we can get in tight with it now. We'll just switch that off and we'll have a quick look over it before I put the top back on. So let's kill the power there. It's rather abrupt as the controller goes down. That's just on the clipper. And let's have a quick look at the top of it here. It really is quite delicate. I really don't like handling this model very much at all. It always feels on the verge of something going wrong, but still, let's have a quick glance on the inside there. So again, I've been hesitating on cleaning it a little, but I don't want to rub any of the paintwork off it or the detailing. So I think we have got a metal part here. I'm not sure. That part actually feels plastic. There's connection rods here, or piston rods, all quite basic mouldings really. Let's just turn that around. There's the firebox there, see if we can get some light shining on that. Paint wearing away there around the back of the firebox, I think. So quite an impressive thing to have been designed in the very early 60s. Let's just pop that down before we drop it. And there's the other bits. There's the other detailing and the little screws which hold the rods onto the wheels. Let's just pop that down. And that won't lie flat. So we'll just pick up the chassis here. We'll have a quick look over it. I'm just going to grab something to point with because it's really, really tiny. So it never was a particularly smooth runner, this one. I don't think I've run it since 2018, which was the last time I had it out. So when I got it out and opened it up, it was quite a rough runner. So there always was a crack in this sort of brush housing at the top here. You can see it's all full of oil and stuff. It hasn't seemed to have affected the holding of the brushes, but what I discovered when I was trying to run it this time, really uneven running, was this bearing plate back here was physically moving from side to side and causing very, very uneven running. Let's just pop them. Actually, we'll look over the model, over the rest of it, and we'll have a quick look at the service sheet so I can describe the fault I was finding in it. There's the smoking tube in there, one of those early types. It does get quite hot when you wind it up enough to generate smoke, but I assume we're not really generating smoke running it on the railway. So I'm just going to put my finger over there so we don't lose the important parts. And we can see the magnet, so it does benefit from magnet adhesion in the drive gear. And the nut there which holds the bolt running through the motor into the main part of the chassis. And if you look, you can see the two parts of the chassis there. And the wheels are just pushed onto the drive gear from either side and onto that sort of plastic axle in the middle there. Let's just turn that around. There's the hook so we can hook on the tender. Now I'm going to put that down before we drop it and cause any damage. And let's just have a quick glance at the service sheet which covers the motor. bearing plate. So the back end of the armature runs into there. There's a protrusion or a boss on the back of there, which sits within the magnet. Now, it was moving from side to side and causing very, very uneven running. It was just sort of oscillating that way like that. I think probably its original intention was that the pole pieces would have clamped it hard in place, but I don't know whether the shrinkage or something has occurred. The bolt running through was tight enough to hold the pole pieces against the magnet. Yeah, it was still moving, so I've put a little something in here, and it seems to have held it in place. But perhaps it would be an idea to see if we can find a replacement bearing at some point, or a motor, given that it has got the crack in there. But I'm not going to run this a huge amount, so it is more of a curiosity item. Curiosity, I can't pronounce that item, you know what I mean. So novelty, I suppose, is a better way of describing it. Let's have a look at the service sheet for the model whilst we're at it. I can't quite get hold of this. So there we can see the plastic part we just had a look at, and the piston detail there does seem to be separate into that. It's quite intricate. And these stays for the chimney, in the later models it's attached to the chimney. I've got another interesting piece of paperwork which came with the model, and you can see the wheels have just got these axles, half axles, which pushed in from either side into the drive gear there. And we've got obviously no drive gear on the back here, but we do have pickup from the back, so we've got pickup on both wheels on both sides. So, but it still dies on the pointwork, but really quite an interesting design, especially getting that smoke unit in there. I think from 66 they didn't have the smoke unit. I think the model was generally available from 63 to 69 in various forms, and then I think there was a special set in the early 80s, which possibly had plated wheels by then. And I believe just recently there's been as part of the centenary things Hornby were doing, they produced an ultra new model version of it. Let's have a look at the paperwork that's come along with it here. So there we've got the catalogue number, which covers the presentation set, so 346, and this is 17th of the 12th, 63. So in the catalogue image we saw earlier, it does indicate that the model would arrive in late 63. Let's just pop those two down. Have a quick look over this. It's very, very fragile. I have scanned this. You can see it's just wearing away. So we'll just gently open that out and have a quick glance at that. So a terribly fragile piece of paper. You can see it's very, very yellowed now. So again, very nice to have these things. These indicate the different parts here, which it gives you detailed instructions on how to dismantle it. Let's pop that down. And that would have originally sat between the wheels. So do not connect directly to the mains. Ensure model is properly oiled before use. So I'm holding that slightly out of frame. So we'll pop that to one side. And I think this indicates the revision on how to dismantle the model here. So you can just have a quick look over that. So drawing your attention to it because it's printed in red. So I'm not sure at what date that slight revision to those stays happened. So let's pop that down. So I do have one of the coaches in its original box. Let's have a look. So there we got R.346 railway coach for Stephenson's rocket, and this one's named Dispatch. I think possibly I've read that later ones didn't have railway company printed on the centre door there, but the ones I have seem to have that on. So the coaches are fairly cute little things, and as I mentioned the other week I got a replacement one because one of mine is slightly damaged, or not as damaged as I remembered it, as it turns out. So let's have a look under there. So you've got Triang's name in there, very hard to get light on it there. So these axles have suffered a little bit over time, but they're nice and free running. Pop that down. I suppose we should have looked at the tender, really, shouldn't we? And there is an earlier video with this, which I'll leave a link to. And you've got that barrel on the back there for the water, I imagine. And that coal load, that is a metal weight there, so it gives it a great deal of body. Sort of holds it down on track because it's quite a light item. There's that tiny little hook there to hold it to the locomotive. And again, we've got Triang's name buried down in the bottom there. So I believe that the tender had its own number of 652, and the locomotive body was 651S from what I read. It does have its original crew, but it's still stapled there, nice rusty staple, still within its original cellophane. So I think we'll leave them in there. And there is an original capsule of smoke fluid in there, although it looks to be degrading. It looks like it's got parts floating around in it. I think I've kept it in this extra bag here in case it sort of splits. Perhaps I shouldn't keep it with a model anymore, because if that does split, it really will cause a mess, won't it? So we'll pop that down there. So I think this coach experience, that's my original one. It had one of the steps missing there, which should be like that. So the one I got from Elaine a couple of weeks ago had the full set of steps. In my mind, it was missing these as well, but when I did dig it out of the box, it wasn't missing the steps on the back. So it's amazing what memory does, because I hadn't really had this out of the box since 2018, I think. I put it away once I'd taken it off the railway. And I did have some spare buffers I'd bought previously, because when I originally got them, the buffers were missing on one of the coaches, I think. So this is the one that came from Elaine. It's been freshly cleaned up. I added a buffer. I can't remember which one I've added now, but it all looks fairly good. So I suppose we could see it run with all four, but it's asking a lot of it. Even with the magnetesian, it's a tough thing to pull these coaches around. So there, we're back on the railway. We've got all four coaches on. We'll just give her a little run around and see how we do. You can see she's still struggling a little bit with the point work, but I think that's always going to be the way. And I have just given that a little bit more power to try and cope with all of those points in the one go there. And let's see if she'll climb nice and smoothly. Let's get in close and see those drive wheels. I don't think we've got too much wheel slip there. It's looking pretty good. Picking up a bit of power there on the level ground. We'll just back that off a little, I think, just so a little bit more controlled. I don't know why I don't stand closer to that, but it doesn't seem the place to be at the time. So we'll just follow that around again. Let's see if we can get in front of her. See how we do with the diamond. Definitely doesn't like the diamond. So perhaps not as rewarding as it could be, but it's still quite fun to run such a great looking model. So let's just bring that to a stop there. Again, I've stopped it right on the point, so I always have trouble stopping things there. Let's see if we can back that up a little. Alright, I'm going to flip the camera around because it's getting heavy holding it this way up. There we go, sorry about that. Let's flip the points and we'll Actually, no, let's not flip the points. Let's just take it back round onto the elevated section and see if we can get a standing start. So I'm going to wind that up a little to get a bit of momentum for all this point work in front of it. A little bit rough for the coaches though. There we go. So let's give that a bit of power. Let's keep an eye on those that drive wheel there at the front. Not too bad. Calm that down. Right, I'm going to go to a different position, I think. And she definitely stutters on that point there for the good shed. Well, let's have one more go at the diamond. I think I'm going to add a little extra power for this. And then we'll calm that down again. So we'll see if we can get a gentle stop there. And I'm just going to switch the points again here so we don't go up onto the elevated section. And we'll just drop her onto the inside line for a moment. So that's the tail end of the elevated section. That's the immediate end that we're going to be faced with. Let's give this a little power and bring this through again. So again, I'm going to give it a little bit more to try and get some momentum through these points. And I think we'll just bring her to a stop there. It looks rather good next to the station there. I noticed when I was looking over the footage I shot earlier that we didn't have a look at the box, but we'll just have a quick look at that. But let's just flip this around again and we'll just have a quick run along the side of this wonderful looking train. So it must have been quite a thing, I think, these models when they came along. Let's have a quick look at the back end of the coaches there. And that's the one with the broken step, isn't it? My hand's beginning to shake holding the camera. It gets quite heavy when it's balanced on the end of the gimbal. Let's flip that around again. There we go. So let's just have a quick glance at this box, which we didn't quite manage to look over before. So I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, empty boxes or so on. Well, it wasn't empty at the beginning. If you have a look at the insert picture there with the models in it, it's in fairly good condition. It's got a little bit of a warp or a bend in it, you could say. It's taken a bit of a knock, or maybe it's the way it's been stored at some point. Possibly dampness in there. It definitely looks like perhaps the mice have been having a nibble at the corner of the box. I see some information has survived there where it's been underneath the tape. Perhaps tape doesn't sound. Tape keeps the moisture out, perhaps, or the mice away. Lovely, striking logo on the back of that box, isn't it? Let's have a look at the info on this end. It's pretty much intact. It's beginning to rub away at the edges. Perhaps it's on and off the shelf or so on. And there it is, R.346 Stephenson's rocket train. But the later 346C set, presentation set, I suppose you call these, had all three coaches in. If you have a quick glance at the insert picture there, I think that was 68 to 69. A very, very pretty set. But I think that's probably it for this week. Thanks again for watching. If you look back again next time, we'll have something else from the range to look at. Goodbye now.